CARICOM strengthens relations with regional and international partners. And a Haitian young woman credits CARICOM Youth Program for her entrance into publishing. Welcome to this week's broadcast of the CARICOM NewsTime. I am Tusankin English Francis. Do stay tuned. St. Kitts and Nevis has reaffirmed its commitment to the Caribbean community through the accreditation of a new ambassador, His Excellency Larry Vaughan. At the accreditation ceremony held at the Georgetown, Guyana headquarters of the CARICOM Secretariat on March 15, Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett lauded the dedication of the government and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to advancing critical areas including human resource development and health and wellness. Given the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic and its severe impacts on lives and livelihoods in the region, Secretary General Barnett said the leadership of St. Kitts and Nevis in health and wellness is essential for the region's post-pandemic recovery. Ambassador Vaughan sat down with me for an interview following his accreditation. He reflected on how regional integration is manifested in his country and shared his visions for CARICOM.
I believe that regional integration is that level of interdependence. It desires and it is built on the understanding that our peoples have strengthened within ourselves, within our borders. We have become independent states, but now the independence and the robustness of our cultures and of our economies must now come together at that higher level of interdependence. And so my desire is to see that there is that seamless flow of ideas, seamless flow of capital, seamless flow of people, of goods across the borders. So it is not a goal, because you do not get there and stop.
Yeah, it's a process.
It must be an ongoing process that would have lived out in the lives of the people.
The State of Israel has indicated its willingness to strengthen relations with CARICOM on climate change, agriculture, irrigation, technology, and training. His Excellency Itai Bardu conveyed Israel's willingness when he presented his credentials to the Secretary General of CARICOM, Dr. Carla Barnett, on March 14. Dr. Barnett noted the timeliness of Israel's offer to support agriculture at a time when the region is focused on reducing the importation of food by 25% by 2025. A new ambassador of Lithuania also presented his credentials to the Secretary General of CARICOM, Dr. Carla Barnett, on March 14. His Excellency Rytis Polauskas expressed his country's willingness to advocate on CARICOM's behalf on issues such as climate change. Secretary General Barnett used the opportunity to reiterate CARICOM's position on the need for equitable standards in international financial systems. She stated that CARICOM wants the international community to agree on a single set of regulations so that what is agreed upon in one jurisdiction is agreed upon everywhere. CARICOM negotiators are hailing the just concluded agreement for an ocean biodiversity treaty as an excellent example of the success that can be achieved when we work as one region with one voice. It's also a big win for multilateralism. Michelle Nurse has the details of this development.
The negotiations for the historic Treaty on Conservation and Sustainable Use of Marine Biodiversity Areas beyond national jurisdictions concluded on the 4th of March at the United Nations headquarters in New York. The provisions of the treaty aim for better governance of the high seas, including a more integrated approach to regulation and the capacity to benefit sustainably from marine resources.
The division of the ocean areas essentially meant that countries manage their territorial seas and their economic zones. But all the areas beyond that, essentially, as the high seas was like in a state of free for all. And so it became very important that we have a kind of instrument that would allow joint regulation, governance oversight, but at the same time, joint capacity to benefit from the resources that would be taken from this area, which many people very, very commonly refer to as part of the common heritage of mankind.
Two of the negotiators, Miss Juliet Babariley and Mr. Kurt Davis, and Miss Amrika Singh of the CARICOM Secretariat, spoke of the truly unified approach the Caribbean community adopted and the high level of trust that was reposed in its negotiators.
For CARICOM, I think we were single-minded in what we wanted out of the agreement. Early on, our foreign ministers had indicated to us that it was important that the special circumstances of CIS be reflected in the agreement, that there was that the agreement contained meaningful provisions on capacity building and transfer of marine technology, and that there should be an even balance between conservation and sustainable use, which are two of the areas that the agreement sought to cover.
There was a significant level of trust that really emphasizes how much we work together as one region, one voice in this particular negotiation. We had 5 or 6 countries taking leading roles in coordination and being in the room to speak. And it would therefore mean that a number of the other countries, as they dealt with their feedback and heard where the positions were, would exercise that trust that when Barbados goes into that room, carries out that negotiation on the issues assigned there on behalf of CARICOM, we can go ahead with the position that our negotiator will come back and say, guys, this is what we have, this is what I recommend, this is what we can do. And the same thing for all the leads that took place. So there was a tremendous level of trust, which really underscores the strength that we have when we work together as a region in coordinating our positions on the foreign policy.
We've been at this for a number of years, and through several meetings. And I just our negotiators, they never lost faith. They kept all of us plodding ahead, and I think that's one thing that I don't want to get lost. And I think how we approach this process is a testimony to what we can do when we're united as a region.
Ms. Babariley said the conclusion of the treaty is a big win for multilateralism.
The conclusion of these negotiations is a big win for multilateralism. It is always difficult to get 193 countries to agree on anything. And in this regard, we were able, despite the challenges that are facing multilateralism and international order, to conclude these negotiations. So I think we should be proud of that.
Stay tuned to our platforms for more on our discussion with the negotiators of the treaty. For CARICOM NewsTime, I am Michelle Nurse.
A Haitian young woman is crediting the CARICOM Youth Development Program for her entrance into publishing. Timothy Austin tells us more.
Haitian national Malaine Lewis credits the CARICOM Youth Empowerment Program with her success as a first-time author. Now living in the Turks and Caicos Islands, the single mother of one shared that the program may have in fact saved her life during a difficult period in which she was wrestling with depression and thoughts of suicide.
When I started to doubt myself, and then the pandemic started to happen, and I went through a deep depression. I just had a baby. My relationship with the father of my kids was going down the hill, and I was like, what can I do now?
Malaine shared that the program not only gave her the skills to write her first book, but the inspiration and motivation to become a published author.
So when I started to do the program, I become comfortable with Miss Michelle and Mr. Hima, my mentor. So every time I would write something, I would send it to them, and then to hear what they have to say. And I was amazed how I did that, because I never shared my work. Never. But every time she was like, "Whoa, Malene, this is good." And then as I was in the program, she was like, "Keep writing. Don't stop. Just keep writing." So that's why when I was in the program, I was also writing my book. So whatever I learn, like each challenge that comes my way, instead of letting it bring me down, I would listen. And then I said, okay, you know what? I'll use something that motivate me out of this challenge. The whole point of the book is sharing part of me, leaving room for you. Because this is what CARICOM did. They share part of them, and then they left room for me to grow, to learn, and to be motivated and to be empowered.
Malene's success has resonated with the creators and facilitators of the program.
It's really an overwhelming feeling. One that says, here is a young person who had little belief in herself, and because of the program, she was able to go through the step-by-step process. She had her mentor, and she had this person working with her. And from that, I could see her. I remember the first day she came in the program, and I remember the first question she asked. And I remember the first question was really, am I permitted to speak? And we gave her permission to speak, and she was able to express herself. And she told us how she felt. And she was able to go through the program systematically. And I saw the growth as we went through.
Malene's success story does not end there. She's about to become a mother and a published author for a second time.
Actually, just send another book to be published. So, that would be like, that's my first book, but I plan on writing more books to come. But the story is that I am actually expecting another baby right now. And in the meantime, I'm going through some very, very challenges time. But then I am more motivated to get through it, because as you can see, I'm laughing.
For CARICOM NewsTime, I'm Timothy Austin.
As the CARICOM Secretariat continues to engage young minds, Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett interacted with school children on tour of the Secretariat on March 16. Tours are part of a public education program to give children, young people, and other stakeholders a first-hand look at the operations of the Secretariat and to share information on regional integration. I hope you enjoyed this broadcast of the CARICOM NewsTime. You can get more updates on the developments within the Caribbean community by logging on to our news site at today.caricom.org or our website at caricom.org. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Tusankin English Francis. Thank you for watching. See you next time.